Okay, I think we are getting ready. It says we are directing to YouTube, and I think we are live. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh my gosh, we have an amazing, amazing guest panel tonight. But before I introduce you to the whole guest panel, I am gonna have J.R. Token speak a little bit about what's going on at the Cannabis. What's going on at the Cannabis, man?
Well, we're doing Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And for our guys who are out of the country, happy Turkey Day. Just think of us here in America having some indulgence, some gluttony. Should be a good time. Cannabis is also doing a giveaway right now. We're working with Optic Foliar. They've got their 250 milliliter 4-pack. They're going to be giving away 5 of those 4-packs. So all you got to do is go to Instagram, tell your friends to come on over to Cannabis, and then when you're in Cannabis, just tag three friends in Cannabis, and then we'll pick winners and we'll get those out to you. Probably wrap the thing up over the holiday weekend. So Monday we'll announce winners. And that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks for that update, JR. Well, I also have Liv for today, always here with us, hanging out. I always love to hang out with her. Do you have any updates for us, before we get going?
I don't really have much to say. I'm sorry. It's been a busy, crazy couple of weeks at the office, and my head's not in very good space. But for my medical update, I can just say that I had a doctor's appointment recently, and something that we thought might have been something to worry about turned out to be nothing. So I'm good.
Well, fantastic. I think it's time for a dab. My gosh, that's so good. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome. Well, without further ado, I think we should get on with welcoming our guests here. We have JJ Kitchen with us in the house tonight from Uptown Grow Labs, and also a friend named Kenny from Mount Baker Highway or Eagle Tree Farms. What do you prefer to call you, Kenny?
You can just call me Kenny.
Kenny. Okay, we'll just call you Kenny. All right. Awesome. So tonight, I think I'm going to let JJ Kitchen start off to tell us a little bit about what he's going on. He has a YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, you should all already know, but just in case, he has an amazing thing that he's doing over there, and he's building a really cool community. He goes live, I think, twice a day at least, or at least once time.
Oh, well, we go live every night at 8. So
yeah.
It's a good time. And, I try and post a video every day. I'm not always successful, but mostly strain reviews or garden tips, right? So that's kind of what I do. Although we're going to start branching out into cooking also, but that remains to be seen how proficient I am in the kitchen. So.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and tell us about your update.
We're working on a new book. We've got this the 2020 Cannabis Annual. This is kind of a prototype of it. It's going to be about 400 pages hardcover, and we're asking for people to send pictures of them and their weed, and even if they're wearing our gear or something, but not necessarily a requirement. But definitely check out the live stream. We talk all about that and about other stuff. And I just trimmed some of my plants today in the veg room, so that's kind of entertaining, giving them a little haircut. And I'm rolling up a joint of some Malawi Gold Cross and Northern Lights No. 5 from Bodhi Seeds that I cut about 3 weeks ago. So
that sounds amazing.
Wow.
It's different. You don't really have this kind of taste anymore.
That sounds cool. Well, hey, Kenny, what are you puffing on tonight?
Hey, how's it going, Tara? I'm puffing on Chunk Norris. It's a Blackberry Kush OG line that we grow up here outdoors. Yeah, it's pretty good. I just got in from the cold. I was turning compost today with the tractor and moving it under cover for the winter.
And so now you'll let that cook for the winter and then spread that out over your beds in the spring.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. We also sift it and make our own potting soil with it, and we do tea extractions with it all summer as well, for like while the plants are growing.
And so what's your manure base?
You know, right now I don't have a huge manure source. I only have one cow, but I'm actually just using mushroom blocks from a certified organic mushroom farm that's near me. And I every week I trade my labor and I clear out his grow room and fill up my truck and take it home and pile it up for a number of months. And then I mix it with hay from my own field currently. So it's a pretty low nitrogen compost pile, but I get so much that I'm able to make a big thermophilic compost pile that heats up real good and goes from what looks like a large mass to quite small piles in the end. It's really cool.
So what's happened microbially that's causing that heating, that cooking?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm just a farmer. I'm not a scientist, but it's a lot of microbial activity, and they're consuming that carbon and breaking it down. And so, when you get a big pile going, I guess I don't know. I wish I knew more about it, but I don't let it. I try to shoot for like 130 degrees, which it usually hits with the size piles I get once I start mixing it. And I only mix it a few times, like maybe 3 or 4 times throughout like a 5-6 month period. But it's really amazing how hot it actually gets and sustained heat. And I want to learn how to like capture that and use it to maybe heat greenhouses or something in the future. But like the pile I just turned today, or I brought it in, has been cooking since like spring. And, it was like 100 degrees still on the inside. And it's been that hot since spring, which is crazy.
So when you do this, does this allow you to do pretty much a water only? Or are you still top dressing and stuff like that throughout the season?
Well, on our farm, every year we're picking new things up and leaving things that haven't served us. Like this last year, we actually were top dressing with some alfalfa and kelp as per some soil tests that we did, and we got some consultation work to just kind of dial us in. We've been in the same beds for 4 seasons now, and in like gardening, you're supposed to rotate your beds, but we don't really have a opportunity to do that. So more and more as we're going forward, we're trying to get soil tests so we actually know what's going on in our soil.
Yeah. It's very smart, very smart.
Yeah, it's a bizarre place to be in, to have to cultivate in the exact same square footage, and we're limited by our square footage in Washington State. I have like a 10,000 square foot permit, and so I have like a fence built around it, and I just I'm stuck there basically, unless I want to build a whole nother one that's permitted that I'd flip flop, but it's just not economically viable right now for me to do something like that.
And cannabis,
and Kenny, sorry, JR. Kenny,
Go
I
ahead.
like that you brought up that point about how you're stuck with having to limit yourself to that specific area, because as a regenerative farmer, which you are, and as a DEMpure farmer, if you could do it your way, you would want to rotate those crops, wouldn't you?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. And I feel like I've seen it too. I've seen like pest pressure increasing. It seems like, I guess also it's new bugs are coming in. Like this year was the first year I saw the aphid, the cannabis aphid, and the russet mite. And yeah, I just wish, it wasn't I wish it wasn't the way it was, where I have to, just be stuck where if you have pest pressure, then, are they going to be there next year? That's a big worry for me.
Are you bringing cuts in, or are you hunting from seed?
Most of my work's been from seed in the last two years. The last cutting I took was like 3 years ago, and it brought russet mites into the garden, which was a real big bummer. But yeah, actually, this oncoming year, our plan is to just do everything from our own seed lines, because or whatever's in the seed vault that we have. But yeah, it's just, I'm a real minimalist farmer, and I don't like to have a ton of inputs. And if I do, it's like I'd like to have things I make on the farm. Like I'm into the creating natural farming inputs and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not one that wants to have to rely on like a company to have some kind of spray to control the bugs. And I stopped keeping a veg over the winter for the first time in 10 years for me, with mother plants, and getting rid of these old clones, because that's what keeps them around, the bugs. Convinced of it. And
Amen.
yeah, I've been laying a lot of like groundwork for my own seed work, and trying to save all of those old cuttings that I loved and that I had in some kind of either hybrid form or pure line form. So it's kind of been a long road for me to get to the point where I'm more okay getting rid of the clones, but I've formed a bond with the cuttings I have, and it's kind of it's bittersweet, but it's actually, it feels really good to kind of not have to do clones, because doing clones for so many years, it's just kind of it's always on your mind. In some, in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, I'm 2 weeks out from taking cuttings, or oh, I got to spray them every day for the next 2 weeks, or you're somewhere in that. And I just haven't been out of that cycle my whole adult life, and it just blows my mind. So I'm more confident.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It's just a grind in the end. And
you know what? That's not why you're doing this. You're not doing it to be a grind.
Yeah. And I with my permitted grow, I don't really have a great indoor room at all. And it's kind of been a struggle in the winter. We're in like an old farm that we're slowly converting to be more useful. But there's a million projects. So yeah, the indoor veg is just, it kind of was getting laid to the side. And in spring, we'd kind of like get a little more on top of it, but it's really not my calling to be an indoor farmer anymore. That's where I came from, but I really just would rather grow seeds outside at this point.
Fair enough.
So speaking of bugs and what you've been dealing with, and JJ, I know you've experienced russet mites. I have been dealing with russet mites. JJ, have you been dealing with any of those?
I don't even want to speak their freaking name.
Oh God, I don't blame you.
I have spider mites. I get spider mites. They're very pernicious out here. They just are everywhere. Although, I do Dr. Zymes. I spray that prophylactically. I bring in ladybugs when I first start cracking my beans. So the soldiers are there eating, you just got to watch your plants. And I clone, but I really prefer seeds. I mean, this run, everything that I've got in what's going to be the flowering was all from seed. There are 2 clones that my growing partner in New York gave me. Him, I'm not worried about. His shit's clean. But yeah, I just, seeds, just the way for me to go at this point.
Same here. It's been about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years since I brought in a cut. And in that time, I've not had to deal with hemp russet mites. I've not had to deal with spider mites. I've not had to deal with thrips. I've not had to deal with powdery mildew. I haven't had to deal with bud rot. I haven't got any of that shit. And I really, really think, and I know I say this a lot, but when you take in cuts, it's like unprotected sex. You never know what bugs or diseases you're going to get. And when you have a farm that's like, for me, it's my medicine, I rely on that very heavily. I can't afford to have fuck ups like that because it affects how I am health wise. So
I agree.
yeah, so once I learned that lesson, I agree. I have a little 4x4 bed that I test all my phenos in to make sure they're good before I put them into any kind of production. And since I've been pheno hunting, it's kind of been hit and miss, but I mean, I've got really good genetics that I can rely on to hunt. So I'm fortunate.
Yeah, well, that's, I made seeds about 3 runs ago, and then this last one I inadvertently pollinated the whole crop. So I'm going through everything, and I've got all these Malawi crossed with something that we've made, which is an indica. So I'm in about 2 runs, I'll probably run all those regular seeds and just see what's what, and pick out the beauties, and then make some more beans out of that particular strain, But yeah, I mean, I don't mind seeds in my flower. It's just the bug shit that gets me down, But it is what it is. Just got to keep on pushing.
I just love listening to you guys. I learned so much. I grow 4 plants. You guys were talking about brushing them the other, because it cuts the time. It takes me like 2 hours to trim my 4 plants. Like, it's not a big deal.
Well, yeah. Speaking of he was just talking about that little tool. JJ, do you want to share what you got and tell everybody?
Oh yeah, well this
That
is
gadget?
this is the canna brush, I think it's called. Yeah, and it's used for trimming helping you trim your flower. And you basically brush this on brush it on the flower. I don't have any flowers here, but and it pulls off the big fan leaves, the sugar leaves, the sucker leaves, whatever you want to call them. And then you can finish up with hand trimming. It's good for big nuggy flowers. It's not so good for sativas, and your flower has to be a certain consistency for it to really work efficiently. But I know people who do it, use it, and they save tremendous amount of time trimming, even with 4 plants.
Even with 4 plants. Yeah, well.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, people who have like harder nug type weed, like cookies and stuff like that, it's a lot easier to brush off those little families than if you're trying to deal with something that's, a little more loose and leafier. But like I was telling them, I have a buddy of mine who said he did 3 pounds of cookies with that brush in one day.
That's crazy.
That is crazy because I can usually do a pound in one day if I'm lucky, I'm not that great.
My problem is I'm allergic. So if I start trimming, if I don't have a full face mask, I'm going to start sneezing in 40 minutes and I got to stop. So
yeah, I got a friend who's allergic that way. His throat will even start closing. He can't be in and it's just freshly trimmed weed. He can smoke flower, but the freshly trimmed, same with you?
Yep.
Interesting.
I'm in the room and I'm wearing short sleeves. I will definitely have an itchy arm when I leave. It dissipates, but so I can only trim, but for so long, a half an hour, 40 minutes, enough to watch some comedy on Netflix on my phone in the garage, So it's a long process, unfortunately, and I'm getting tired of making bubble hash. So a lot of the stuff that I don't have so much larf because I do a lot of lollipop, but I'm turning a lot of stuff into butter and making edibles out of it.
So Canafam Dynamics asks that he thinks that it seems like it would brush off all the trikes too. So
I didn't notice that, man. And you know what? Even if it does, God forbid, if you're doing it over a trim tray, it's all going to fall into the keef and the screen anyways.
The person told me that you don't really build up any more resin on there than you would build up on your scissors trimming. He said it's about the same. It's not. Yeah. It's negligible. That was my question, though. Good one, Canafam. That was my question too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who we got out in chat? We should maybe say hello. Hello.
Yes, so, please. Hi, go ahead. I'll let you.
All right.
Go for it.
Let's see. Let's start at the top here. All right. So we got Changi 420, small tubes. How you doing? Visible Fam.
Small tubes.
Ilgor. Yeah. Bingo Lombardi's at the party. And yeah, CanFM Dynamics I mentioned before. Richard D. Who did I see here a second ago? Zoe and Slammer. How you doing? I love those names. God, where do you guys come up with some of these names?
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't even come up with a name for my dog, you know, when I went to name my dog, you know. I come up with all these names.
There's our friend that we were talking to the other day. What's his
Tribal
name?
Gardens, wasn't it?
Tribal Gardens. He's in
Yeah.
here. Tribal Gardens.
Awesome.
is here.
Welcome.
And
Yeah.
that cannabis show is here. So hey, John and Tim, if Tim is there. Or if he's-
Pilgar. I got your candies right here. I was thinking about having a little snack later. Thanks for that little package you sent me.
Oh. And I know he's not here, but I'm just going to say a shout out to our old friend K Doggy. It's his birthday today. So happy birthday, K Dog, wherever you are.
Happy birthday. Wow. So should we get right back into do we want to dive into like some breeding questions? Do you guys want to like start talking about that? What do you want to talk about?
I would love to talk about some breeding questions.
I feel like,
Kenny, what did you say?
I feel like Bingo Lombardi is everywhere. I
know he is.
He is my friend. We have been hanging out on here forever. Bingo and I have been hanging out on here forever. And I actually know what Bingo looks like.
That one big eye of his is just everywhere.
Bingo is awesome. He supports Double Man Big Time Hash Church. He's always there. He's definitely in all the chats.
Yeah.
And so are a lot of these people out there. Zoe Slammer, Kathy McDowell. You guys, thank you, all of my mods that are out there. I really do appreciate you, and thanks for all of the love. I do appreciate that, and we do. People on YouTube really appreciate your support, and those thumbs up really keep us encouraged. So anyways, let's jump into breeding then. Let's do it.
Yeah, I've got some questions about outdoor breeding. What time do you start your females ahead of your males, or do you start them out at the same time? And how do you make sure that the whole field doesn't go hot?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, well, you got to walk your field, and I can't say I've never had a male out in the field. I think I don't know, people make mistakes, I guess, but I always have my plants out at the same time, and the males I'll usually, like, if I sex them in a pot, I'll take like cuttings off, like get them into a smaller form, so they're not as, my females outside getting big once that goes into the ground, but the males I'll keep in a pot, take a cutting, and then when they're going into flower, I'll let them go to flower as well, and then move to the side and just throw the light, and then I'll usually try to cut it right before it's really going off and put it on. And then you can like scrape up the pollen off the glass once it's dropping the pollen. But it's dangerous to have like a lot of pollen everywhere. And my whole facility is like, I can't leave it. So it's not huge. So that's a good way to like keep less pollen, but you don't need a lot of pollen to make a little, enough seeds for you. What was the other question?
Holy shit, we got Joshua Steensland in the house. I just have to say, Joshua, cheers, man. You were doing some shit right. I love you, man. And I know Kenny would love to know you're in the house right now. These guys, JR and Kenny both can't see chat. I don't think JJ can either, guys. So just so you know, we're trying to relay everything to them. So go ahead, JR. You're muted.
I was just curious about that process of trying to breed your next runs, like your next year's crop, without making the whole field hot.
Yeah.
Or seeded out.
Did that make sense? Like I start my seeds at the same time, when I sex them out before the plants go into the ground, I get the males and I maybe up pot them once, take good cuts. Then I'll have a small male, and the female girls outside get big all season. And then when they start flowering, I move that pot inside. And that was kind of the gist of what I said. And that's like, then you can collect the pollen and do spot pollinations. And if I try to do spot pollinations when it's like about to rain, or in the evening when it's really not windy at all. And sometimes I'll throw a bag over the branch that I pollinate. And I usually do like a small southern facing branch, so it's got decent light, and maybe I'll do a couple, but depending on how much I'm trying to do or how much pollen I have. Oh, you're on mute.
How long do you leave the bag on for?
Only like 3 or 4 days at the most. And yeah, you don't want it to get rained on with the bag on it, because it's like any plant, it needs to breathe, that branch. So I've had like quite a few branches actually get moldy because I like left the bag on too long. And branches with seeds, they kind of, that in my experience, they kind of tend to mold up easier than a non-seeded branch. I don't know because of the mass, just the mass of it. Maybe, yeah, maybe that, or I don't know. It's a grain in there, and grains like to be moldy. So, but yeah, they get dense, and especially when they're really filled with seeds. But one thing that I like to do outdoors to also be careful is like the earlier you pollinate, the less likely it seems to me that I'll get a ton of seeds in like maybe nearby plants. And especially if you're doing an early pollination, like when there's maybe week 2 of when you think it's flowering, or when just you start seeing the first pistils, do you get in there? When you go to harvest that bud, the seeds will be like one seed on the inside of the bud up against the stem, and then you'll have you can still smoke the branch. And I mean, that's like if you're not trying to do production amounts of seeds, and maybe a way that like people can pheno hunt outdoors is if they're doing a run of seeds, instead of keeping that cutting, they could just pollinate one branch on every plant, which is a lot of work, but you can pull it off. And then being able to smoke that finished product and have some seeds out of it I think it's easier to get what that bud is, as compared to like a seeded bud. You can smoke the weed, I guess, but if it's fully seeded out, it's just you don't get the real good experience, and the bud structure's way different. So if you get a very early pollination, you only get a handful of seeds, but the nugs won't be as seeded out either. You can actually smoke them and get a good representation of what that is like.
That's really interesting. I think that it would be really attractive to a regenerative farmer to be able to have those practices where you're improving your genetics every year. You're doing your own selecting to what works great in your environment, because everybody has different microclimates that they have to deal with. And to be able to select year after year for those that do well in your climate would be hugely advantageous to a person.
For sure. Yeah, and I feel like there's not a ton of discussion on how to do like pheno hunting, or like seed making good selections without having a mother room, or without cuttings all the time, or without, it seems like most people will just have an indoor scenario, but there's a lot of people just out on the hill with not a lot of resources to like take a cutting from every single plant out of like, even, if you're running handful of females out of a seed lot, it's still a lot of work to hold those for 2 months and see what those are. So, and when you're talking about going through like 100 plants, it gets really ridiculous. So I think it's a cool regenerative way to do a pheno hunt, and I think that's what I want to be doing more of in the future, and have done a little of. But it's all a lot of work, saving pollen, trying to not have it be mixed, and trying to time that right. Depending on like your male, the amount of males you can save, sometimes the timing doesn't happen right, and so you don't have, the male will flower way late or way earlier than the females, and depending on which one you've picked, it can get hard, and maybe the timing doesn't work out, or you have to collect the pollen and store it in the freezer. But sometimes it doesn't work out. So, keeping a number of males, I think, is important if you're trying to breed without a ton of indoor to hold stuff over.
So would you say there's obviously an advantage to indoor breeding versus outdoor breeding?
I think it's a good tool. I think it's having a nice indoor space to just hold things is really useful for sure. I would say it's helped me a lot. It's difficult to pull it off all outside, unless you have like a cool location where maybe you have different sides of a hill where the wind isn't blowing, and you can have a male garden outdoors. I'm in a pasture, so I don't really feel comfortable having the male plants out in the garden. Sometimes I do sexing in the field, which saves a lot of potting soil. So that's a plus for production growers. Not, if you pop your plants in from a seed cell tray, you're gonna spend a lot less money on potting soil, and a lot less time and labor up potting your plants. So there's a lot of benefit to sexing out in the field. But every grow is different, and I've been doing a lot of like experimenting at my farm here, doing large plants for a couple of years. This year we did tighter spacing, multiple plants, like all from seed. So everybody's got like a little different, scenario.
I was trying to paste a question that someone was asking, and apparently I didn't paste the right thing in there. So don't read what I just put in there. Okay, so a question that's in chat. Steve says he needs some prayers and he needs a good distraction tonight. So cheers to you, Steve. And this question is going out to you. I hope this is going to be a good distraction, and I hope you enjoy our chat tonight. So he says, I bred all my ladies last year as a preservation project. Any thoughts whether to inbreed or backbreed to the father from 2019?
I don't know. I would say grow them out and see what they look like, and maybe do both and see what happens then. Saving a cutting you really, really love, maybe, depending on your selection, I don't know enough about, I guess, breeding, like the science of it, but I would say they're both good ideas.
I mean, if you still has the male, you should definitely breed it back into the offspring. I mean, what have you got to lose?
Yeah, I think that pheno hunting what he has, finding those keepers, then taking those keeper females, breed them back to the males to get some more stabilization or more male traits that you like or whatever, I think would probably be in order.
Yeah. I mean, you could do willy-nilly, but yeah, I mean, hunting the favorites is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Hope that helped.
Okay, he says he will know in 3 weeks what the prodigy flowers taste like.
Hey, that's good. That's excellent.
Awesome.
He's on it.
Hell yeah. Cheers.
So now he can pick the best of the prodigy and focus on those, kind of like we do with our children. You know, you pick the best one, you focus on it.
Focus on the weakest link.
And now JR's working on the grandkid.
Is my son?
God
Is my
bless you.
son?
dude.
Is my son in the chat? Because I can't choose. I got
You
3
can't
of them.
choose. Yeah. Shh. Hi. You can't choose. He's not here.
He's not there. Okay.
Oh my. Oh my.
So I'm doing myself a dab of Queen of Soul, man.
Oh, yummy. I need to have another dab. So JJ, what did you want to jump in here? Did you have some breeder things you want to talk about, or you sell seeds, and you and Kenny also does, and like you guys are like more than welcome. This is about you guys tonight. I really appreciate this. It's so cool to have 2 Washington people in here joining me tonight. I get to shout out my state. Ooh, go Washington.
Well, I mean, we sell feminized seeds. I don't do my own feminization. These are from friends of ours in Spain, and they're very stable. I mean, I'm running right now. I'm running some shishka berry and some Chem4, and then a couple other kind of unusual ones. Something called Cafe Racer from them. The plants are incredibly uniform, and that's what they do. You know, they get a male that they like, and then they'll, you know, isolate their best ones, or with a lot of these brand name strains, they'll buy a cut from somewhere, and then within 6 months they've got feminized seeds of it. I mean, it's a crazy business that they have. It's a lot more production oriented than we are over here in the States. I don't know if that answers.
Can you speak a little bit about their testing? Do you know what their testing regimens kind of are, and trying to figure out what the stability of their product is?
I don't really know. I think a lot of it is, there's a town in Spain, I can't remember the name of it, but if you look at a satellite image, it's like almost 80% greenhouses. So these guys are testing by actually making the genetic. It's not all cannabis. They do have a huge gardening industry there. Apparently, I never knew this, but it's massive scale what these guys do. So I have to think that it's, you know, working in the plants. They do have some sort of, you know, data collection. I'm not really sure though. I know on the higher CBD strains, like the Harlequin versions and the ACD version that I get from them, those are tested out in terms of their CBD numbers. It's usually an 18-to-1 ratio, CBD to THC. And I've seen the results. They've shown them to me from labs. As much as you can trust a lab, right? And numbers. It's more of a baseline, I think, than anything else. But they just make so many of them that it's incredible. I mean, I would not be surprised if 80% of the seed banks in Europe use seeds from 1 or 2 vendors in Spain.
Well, I have you guys both here. I've been going through kind of a autoflower fiasco. I got an autoflower that's probably about 112 days in, and it still looks like it's got a couple weeks to go. How do you guys feel about autoflowers? And have you ever grown one that was good?
Okay, so somebody gave me some seeds a couple of years ago. I kind of like the redheaded stepchild, right? I kept her in the back of the tent. Didn't really give a fuck about them. Excuse my language. They made some buds. They were nice. It was okay weed. You know, I got about 6 buds out of it, but I just kind of went blah. But I met Jeff Lowenfels a couple of years ago, and he is now on this. He's the guy who wrote Teeming with Microbes, all those like classic, you know, organic TLO oriented books. So he has got this thing for autoflowers. He's got a new book out now, which is all about autoflowers. And so, you know, I hung out with him in California. We did a show together. So I came home, and I sell autoflowers because there's a big demand for it. So I got a couple strains from my friends in Spain, and I'm currently now running out 4 Skittles autoflowers. They pop ground September 11th, so they're going on 90 days in about 10 days. So they're like at 75, 80 days right now. The buds are nice and fat. I mean, they're smelly, not like what I really like. There's not really gassy. I'm not from the East Coast, so I like that gas. But they've got probably another 15 to 45 days to go. So, and they're in 3-gallon containers. Or number 3s. I didn't have the space to put them in anything bigger. If I had them in 5s, I suspect they'd be much bigger than they already are. I mean, they're weird. I think my next grow next summer in Washington State is going to be all autoflowers.
Really?
It's a backyard grow, right? It's a backyard grow. So I've got 20-gallon containers out here that are chilling over the winter with bokashi and whatever else I got in them. So what I'm doing now with my plants is I get them in the solo cups. They germ. And within a couple of, 1, maybe 2, bud sites, I'll put them in the container they're going to finish in. Just like, fuck it. I did it because I had to, because I was going out of town for a long period of time, and I knew the bigger container would have enough water so they wouldn't die while I was gone. But now I noticed that, they do pretty darn well. You don't have to up pot them all the time. So I'm going to germinate the autos, put them in all the 15, 20-gallon containers I got out in the yard, set them and forget them. See what happens.
What seed companies are you working with? Like what autoflower?
The company where I get the majority of all of my feminized beans and my autos is a company called Blimburn Seeds. It's not them, it's their parent company, but they're kind of the face of the company retail-wise. Mm-hmm. And the quality is decent. I mean, we do get people who complain about germination rates, but I don't know if that's the beans or their lack or level of experience. Could be either or both. Mm-hmm. Germination is always tricky for people.
Yeah. And I found the total opposite of that. I am brand new at all of this. The only reason I ever grew anything was because I happened to find a seed in my weed one day. I was, crushing it up, and there was a seed. I thought, what am I going to do with this thing? And so I stuck it between a couple of sheets of wet paper towel and a Ziploc bag, and in a couple of days it had roots. It had little things, and that's how I've been doing it ever since. And I've never, unless the seed itself was a bad seed,
right.
They've all cracked, they've all grown. And
well, see, that's the weird thing. Everybody's got their own method, right? See, I do paper towel, and if I get 50% germination, I feel blessed. So I just put them straight in the dirt in a fully saturated soil media, whatever it may be, and just keep them moist. And then within 3 to 4 days, they almost all of them germinate. Everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Yeah. Well,
whatever works for you, and whoever's watching, whatever works for you. There's no right way to grow cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
You get the plant up, you get some flower out of it, you get some medicine, you're good.
Well, like you said, that's what you say you're doing is what I did. I just put my 4 plants out in the backyard. We're only allowed 4 here in Quebec.
Right.
And they grew. I watered them. I didn't feed them. I'm sorry. I don't know how to feed. I don't know what to put in them. I just watered them. And on the days that I didn't water them, God watered them, or whoever is up there. Fuck, I don't know. And yeah. And I didn't get a big yield, but that was, I think, partly my fault because I was late. But I think I got a pretty good crop of shit. I mean, it smells damn good, and the few that I've tasted so far taste pretty good, and they did the trick.
So you're successful.
So you did a very organic grow, and it created stresses on that plant that maybe didn't give you the yields that you were looking for, but the stresses gave you quality. And there's a lot to be said for that. Sometimes people overfeed their plants, and then they end up losing out on the quality.
Agreed. I just, the way I grow now, and trust me, I've grown almost every way there is. I just do it organically in soil. I do layers. I use bokashi. I use organic worm castings. I use tea a couple of times, an organic tea, a microbial tea. I can get live earthworms, I get them in the soil. And that's what I do. I really just try to add water. I do use mammoth pea, I have to say. I use mammoth pea.
Mammoth pea?
Yeah,
Aren't
It's-
mammoths dead?
I'm sorry.
Aren't mammoths extinct?
Probably, but
Mammoth.
Can you tell she's a new grower? She probably doesn't really even know what it is.
well, some
I
mammoth pea
don't
is-
know what
Yeah.
mammoth.
it's a metabolite. It helps your plants metabolize, I think, potassium. So it makes the
All right.
flowers bigger, makes your flowers dense.
It's a biological. It's a bacteria that is a phosphorus releasing bacteria. And so basically a lot of people will use it around the end of veg as they're heading into flower. There's very low application rates. A little bit goes very, very long ways. And you can find mammoth pea at just about any hydro shop. You can probably order it on Amazon.
And it's
but-
called mammoth pea?
Yeah, it's very expensive.
And the P is for phosphorus because it's a phosphorus liberizing.
Oh, it's just the letter P.
Correct,
Mammoth
not pee-pee.
P.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not urine,
So
not urine.
hi, this is kind of their symbol. That's JJ. JR
That's a-
Token always wears the mammoth hat, you know.
Yeah.
So this
yeah,
is the
yeah.
biological control, which I have not used yet. I was gifted this, and
Ah, okay.
I want to try one this next year, but I'm gonna probably bring 2 with me to the Emerald Cup. So whoever comes up to me to the Emerald Cup or something wants one of these, let me know because I'll have one. So I'll give you guys one. Because I'm gonna give them out. I don't want to have to worry about sending it, and I don't want to hog them all. When I get samples, I like to give them out freely to everybody. And
Those are good because, like JR said, that it's a very minimal application rate. It's like a 0.5 milliliter per gallon.
And it's a very aggressive bacteria. It sets up shop really quick. And you'll see the thing that I really find that it does for me is finishing. Like JJ said, it's really great about finishing. It gives you color, aroma, and it does help with your yield size as well. But I mean, I really notice it in the finishing of the product that I like. That's the value I really get out of it.
Well, the thing I've noticed is, so I have all these Malawi across with NL, right? So these flowers are very generally long and wispy, but with the mammoth pea, even what you might consider larf, I can trim off enough. I can still get a bong buddy out of those flowers. And I don't think I would have had that without the mammoth pea. I think it would just be all larf, total larf.
And in the end, that adds up.
Yeah, it does.
very interesting. Yeah. Well, anyways, so Kenny, did you want to have anything? Did you want to add anything about the auto flowers or anything? Did you have anything to add about that or?
No, I'm all ears. I actually haven't grown autoflowers. I have a number of crosses my friends have made in the vault that I've been looking at and I want to grow out. But no, I'm just listening and learning.
Awesome. So Mandolin Genetics, wasn't that also teaming up? Do you want to talk a little bit about, a little bit about that, right? With Josh, they're doing a seed company thing, right?
Oh, Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know him or about him actually. I just know he's also working with Dutch Blooms on the regenerative seed bank project.
Yes.
And that's going to be a location online where you can buy seeds from regenerative breeders and seed savers, and he's got a really cool list of folks. And I think the website's up actually. I'm not up on there yet. I'm actually working on packaging right now, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that project for sure.
Awesome.
Nice.
JJ, you had someone yell out that you got Angels Uptown are looking good.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So that is a cross of a pot of gold and a granddaddy purple, and it's named after a buddy of mine who passed a couple years back with brain cancer. He loved his indicas, and that's what that is. So that's kind of what my Malawi got crossed with. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the results are of that. So
How long does that Malawi go?
not long enough. It could have gone another 3 weeks easily. Because of the mites, we cut in about 9 weeks, about 63 days.
So you think it could have gone 12, 13 weeks pretty easily?
In an ideal world, some of them would. Some of them were already done. Some of them could have gone longer, for sure. But the flower smells like, old school piff, man, like the Golden Haze. It's not that totally necessarily. See, this is like a flower. It's very long, very airy fairy. And there are beans in it, but it's got this real cedar incense, church incense kind of smell. You just don't taste shit like this anymore. You just don't, So I'm real happy. I won't be running it for a while, not in that iteration, but the cross with the angels, I think the indica will bring the flowering time and the size of the buds down. That's my hope. That's my hope.
The reason I asked is because I got gifted a Malawi haze, and that shit's gonna probably go forever, huh?
15 weeks.
Damn it.
It could. I mean, it could go that long. The problem with that, as you know, because you're in the PNW, is the longer your plants are doing their thing, the more exposure they got to pests, predators, and plague, And that's one of the reasons I cut everything when I did, because I was just like, you know what? I got to clean the room. I'm done. Move on to the next one, Enough is finished. Because what I do in the summertime, I'll start a lot of stuff outdoors and I'll finish it indoors. Because I'll get bigger yields that way. It didn't work out so well this year. I got some black mold, some bug rot, but.
So I wish this was smell-o-vision, because this smells amazing.
That looks like a bodacious flower there, kiddo.
I didn't do too good on the trimming. I'm not a very good trimmer. My son said it's.
You know what? That's okay. It's all right.
There's a lot of terps on there, so I didn't want to lose them. So I'll smoke it.
The extra leaves protect the trichomes. So.
Yeah, there you go. But it's.
I don't trim any of my stuff, and I believe it does. But I do believe it protects the trichomes, because when I go to pull those out, those trichomes are still locked on there, and they are like nice and tucked in there. In fact, Kenny, I have some weed to bring to smoke with Kenny, because when I was actually at Kenny's farm, visiting Kenny's farm, he gave me some weed, and you know what? I never smoked it, and it's still jarred up. I'm going to be bringing that down to Emerald, or down to the hive. You're going to be at the hive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my weed that I gave you.
Yeah, you gave it to me. There's some purple one, and there's some, it was stuff that you grew.
That's cool. I like aged weed, actually.
Yeah. So I was looking forward to. I put it in jars. And I thought, you know what? Next time I see Kenny, I'm going to bring that down there, and we're going to smoke that. So it's there for you to smoke. I'm bringing weed for you.
Cool.
So this is a Dream Police. Zooey was asking what I had. So this is the Dream Police. That's all I got out of one plant.
Okay, it's like 20 to 30 grams.
Yeah, I haven't weighed it. I've actually smoked a little bit of it already. It's still curing, but
Hang on a second. Let me mute this.
And this one is called Foul Grape, and it actually smells like wine. To me, it smells like wine anyway. So grape, wine, right? Yeah, to me it smells like when you smell a wine cork. And this was also gifted to me by Je ne sais pas, a key. And then this is a Wonderweed. This one is, I wish I would have had more of these. This was the biggest one I got.
Beautiful.
That's not bad, eh?
Sure.
I thought. And it smells really nice too. I can't put my finger on this one though. I'm not very good at tastes and smells and things. So yeah, this is my four plant haul.
You know, hi, that's really good for your like what your only second grow, and you really didn't fertilize anything. They just threw them into a garden bed, and
Yep.
you know, and that's what you know, if you don't fertilize a lot, you're not going to get a large quantity, or
Hmm.
you know, and that's what the one thing I really found out. You know, this year I didn't really pour the teas to it and stuff like I should have, and I really didn't mend the soil like I should
Yeah.
have, and I was off playing, having a great time. And so
Well,
you do, you get
yeah,
you get
it's a
out of it
trade-off.
what you put into it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
if you don't put it is a heavy feeder for people who are new to grower, and they're not, it's not just like a tomato plant. I mean, it is a heavy feeder. And a lot of people say, oh, it's as easy as a tomato. Well, it's easy to grow, yes, but to grow quality and quantity, there's a lot of other steps to go in there, and people need to be aware of that, especially for people who only can grow 4 plants.
Right. Exactly.
JR, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I totally agree with that 100%. It is what you put into it. You need to make sure that the basic nutritional needs to it are there through all the phases of its life, throughout those phases, what it needs. That's why regenerative farmers have to pay so much attention to their soil and the condition of their soil and how they're refeeding that soil every year in order to make sure that they're going to have plants that don't just completely gas out, and then they're constantly top dressing when they might they might as well be watered. So you've got to water in a lot of teas, or you got to supplement a lot. But if you get your soil,
Exactly. Yes,
if you
I'm so glad you said all that stuff, JR, because Kenny is doing all that stuff right now. I saw him out the other day on his Instagram, by the way. He has an awesome Instagram. I should bring that up here. Let me bring that up here in a minute, Kenny. But I'm going to have you talk a little bit about that and preparing the soil going into winter and some of those teas, because there's a lot of regenerative farmers in the house, a lot of medical growers out there that really need this information.
Yeah, going into the winter, my thoughts are you want to have plants in the garden growing, so like cover crop, whatever you have covering the ground, and if it's bare, I mean, even if it's not bare and there are plants, hitting it with mulch is great. Hitting it with compost and leaves and hay and
What
getting
about
your
what about cardboard? Someone told me to put cardboard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely suggest using non-dyed cardboard, just straight up.
Yeah.
But yeah, cardboard brings worms. It brings mycelium, and it can kill off weeds that you don't want. So yeah, if you have a good source, or a carpet store or a
Well,
furniture store or something.
no, but I work for a company and I'm always receiving boxes, and they're always just plain brown cardboard boxes with no printing or anything on them. So I brought a bunch home. They're in the trunk of my car actually, and I thought I would start layering them in my garden and get that ready for next year.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Good.
Hey, so isn't there something about those mushrooms that look like brains, morels or something, about if you lay cardboard down and then the next year that the morels are supposed to come out? Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that in particular, but cardboard is a really good substrate for mycelium. They just run through it. If you pull up cardboard out here in the Northwest and off the ground, and it has like a white fuzz going through it. So there's a ton of life in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if spores would culture on that after it's degraded for a number of months. Yeah, cardboard has a lot of good uses. Like sheet mulching is a common thing people do, where you put down cardboard, then you put wood chips on top of that, or other carbon sources, and that will like kill off the weeds you don't want, and it creates this spot to hold water for your garden. And
I have a tree, a pine tree in my backyard that has these long spines, and they drop, and my yard is full of them. Is that something that I could scoop up and use, or is that a dangerous item?
it's dangerous. It's acidic. It's very, very acidic. It can be
okay.
not very good for cannabis as a mulch.
Okay.
But something that is good, you can get a hold of your local arbor company and have them bring out a load of chips. They'll just bring out random wood chips, and you can spread those wood chips over your bed. And like you said, you can put cardboard on top of that,
Mhm.
and then just let that all break down over, and
Yeah.
it'll create a really nice, rich black soil.
Get some worms in there.
Yes, get some worms too. Can you order worms online?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You
I do it
can,
all
eh?
the time.
See all these things I'm learning from you people.
You know what though?
That
If
was Montreal, right?
I
you want-
am.
if you want to find worms, just put cardboard on the ground, and then a couple weeks later, peel it back after it's rained, and the worms go to the
That's-
cardboard. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're absolutely right. And actually, it's pouring cats and dogs outside right now, so I should probably go outside and throw something down because there's always like worms. But I don't know. It's kind of cold right now. I don't know if we get. Is it still raining?
So, Tara, do we want to talk about our Christmas party on December 18th, Wednesday, December 18th?
Well, a few more things I wanted to talk about. So, Kenny, I wanted to talk about his breeding that he actually has going on a little bit because I think he's got some stuff that he's worked with Kevin Jodry on some stuff, and then like or a similar one or something. But anyways, Kenny was in the video with Kevin Jodry and Joshua Stensland and Kaya, which has I don't know how many views we got on it for the regenerative conference, that first one I put up there in BC. And this I really wanted to kind of do a follow-up with Kenny also to give people an update from that awesome talk that he got to share with us.
Yeah. So I haven't done any work with Kevin. Just that interview, and he's a great dude. But
With his Boston accent.
yeah, I think what you're thinking about though is I think we were talking about the Royal Kush, and that's kind of like the backbone of the breeding and preservation work I have done. And he's like a big part of that strain's story, so we connected on that level. But yeah, the Royal Kush is my jam. It's a purple Kush, sour diesel, and Afghani. And it's been really inbred into just a great outdoor strain. It's very fungal resistant. It's really potent, and it has a unique terpene profile that is great. And the seed line of it when you pop a couple seeds, there's not going to be so much of a difference. There'll be some purples and some green phenos, but more purple phenos than green phenos, and the buds in the pound bag usually just look the same. So
Were you at the Portland Regenerative Conference?
I was. I think I talked to you for a moment.
Dude, I still have those seeds that you gave me of that, what you're talking about, that Kush. I have a pack of your seeds of that Royal Kush.
Grow some of that out. It's not my strain per se, but that's my preservation project that I've been working on. The breeders of that are Emerald Mountain Legacy seeds, and they're out of Mendocino, I think, Comchi. But yeah, it's a super great strain, and I've been growing it since I started growing cannabis. It was like one of the first cuttings I got, and so there's a ton of different reasons why I've bred with that. But I grew up here in Washington. I'm right by the border. I'm on the west side of the mountains, which is more moist and humid. So yeah, I really need something that's fungal resistant, that finishes in time. And that strain is when I started my recreational farm out here with my sister 4 years ago, and we ran through all my cuttings that I've been growing indoors. That strain really stood out to us, and it also is my favorite. And so yeah, that's the Royal Kush.
Well, I'm really stoked to have it because, I'm here in the Willamette Valley. And I have projects that I do over in the Astoria area. And that's one of our big problems is getting stuff to finish in time and to be powdery mildew resistant.
Yeah.
Those two things are crucial. And we were doing a purple Urkel for a long time, but my nephew lost the genetics. So we have been hunting for something that would do well out in the Northwest. So I will definitely be cracking those this spring, and I will definitely be posting about those. I'm super excited. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I'm glad I got those to you. I might have given you some Synex Kush. It's Synex Cross the Royal Kush. And I kind of changed that strain's name to Rolex.
Dude, I would love to have that cross. I grew a Senex. Oh,
I love that
yeah.
cutting. I grew that probably like 6 or 7 years ago, and when the medical scene was going on in Washington, and it was just one of my favorite light stimulant kind of strains. And when I ran that cutting outdoors here, it tended to be an early finisher, but it was not very fungal resistant at all. And so crossing that to the Royal, that was why I crossed it to the Royal, and I cross everything to the Royal if you haven't figured that out yet. But everything I got, I do some other strains, but it's usually the stuff. Yeah, that's an AC/DC cross to Royal, and that was from a light depth this year. That's a strain
nice.
I'm very excited about, and I know that some folks were growing that out this year, all over the place. Passed out some seeds to that. So whoever has a cutting of that or seeds of that AC/DC Royal, it's a really special one. The AC/DC is a 20-to-1 CBD THC cutting, and the Royal is the opposite. It's just high THC, almost no CBD at all. So those are coming out mostly 2-to-1s. The seed lots I've been testing of flower, leaning towards CBD. But yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
I'm looking at all the pictures of the farm right there.
I love the little calf you've introduced into the farm. It's been so nice to watch him grow up on your Instagram.
Yeah, he's big now. I think he's like 300 or 400 pounds now. He was a drop bull from a local dairy. Give him away. So one day I picked him up, and I had a bottle feed him 4 months. And
Tara, I have to get out of here. I got to prep for my show later on.
Okay, JJ, thanks for joining us.
Everybody.
Hey,
It was great meeting you, buddy.
Yeah,
Bye,
awesome meeting you. And hey, don't forget to go follow JJ and go say hi to him tonight, guys, if you haven't checked him out already. What time are you going live? Just tell him, everybody.
8 p.m. Pacific, Uptown Grow Lab on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and you're welcome anytime to join us again.
Everybody. Don't overeat.
Happy Thanksgiving to all those Americans out there.
You already got yours in.
My turkey's already done.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, that was awesome. It was nice having him join us. And man, I get to talk to a few people in Washington finally, in my home state. I've been traveling everywhere.
That's awesome. I've yet to find someone like close by here.
You'll get there.
Yeah, eventually. It's still too anal here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenny, is there any thing on Instagram? I just showed him some of your Instagram. I showed him the mushroom things. What else?
I'm really stoked on the compost just because it's like a constant grind I'm doing of collection to make those compost piles and whatnot. But I don't know. Yeah, are there any questions?
I guess something that maybe I'm gonna throw out there and share is right here that you are Pure certified. and regenerative. And maybe let's talk about a little bit about what that really means to you, because we're getting ready, obviously, to head to a really awesome conference. We get to hang out with Dragonfly Earth Medicine, and God, I'm so totally excited. How about you?
I'm super excited for it. I think it's cool to get the whole crew together to talk about the certification and hash things out, and get clear on things, and bring the community together so everybody knows each other. Because that's the cool thing about the Dragonfly certification, is that it's community driven, and so an inspector doesn't come out and you give them $2,000 and they inspect you. It's another farmer comes out and you don't pay for it, and they judge you on the merits of your operation and what you're doing and what your values are, if they're in line with the rules of the certification. And it's having a farmer come out and inspect you there's a lot more to that, because farmers know the ins and outs of cannabis farming, and so it's a lot more personal, and the oversight is better in that sense, that if a Dragonfly farmer comes out to my farm right now, I'll be like, this is what I'm doing. It's like you can't bullshit the farmer, because the farmers are hands-on, and I really like that. I was clean green certified, but this year we decided to drop it just because it's great that it's great for people to know that things are pure and clean, but I wasn't happy with the pay to play kind of thing going on with.
Okay, so yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? Because actually I don't even know what it is, but I have an idea I know what it is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I could. I wouldn't want to like bash anybody or.
No, I'm not asking you to bash it. I have an idea what it is, but I actually don't know, so I don't want to speak on it or say anything, because I don't have the full story.
Well, how most other certifications are in the cannabis industry, there's I think 3 main ones, but usually it's like in the $2,000 or $3,000 range as far as a yearly fee, and they're supposed to come out once a year and do like a leaf sample and I think a soil sample, and I believe they go and test that for pesticides, is what I believe. But and so that's great if they come out, so if the certification comes out or doesn't come out, maybe that might reflect on, I don't know how to word it, but I just when it costs like thousands of dollars to the farmer who's really getting taxed pretty hard these days, I get that to run a certification, it costs money possibly, but that's why I believe in the Dragonfly certification so much, because you can't purchase that. And I know that other farmers can't purchase it that maybe aren't it actually in line with the values. I feel really confident that every farmer in the Dragonfly collective is really values what they're doing and has their whole heart in the values and the rules of the certification. I think I just believe more in that, and that's why I decided not to do the other certifications this year, really. And it's,
well, I guess my thought would be, so here I am in Washington as a medical patient. I know you don't do concentrates in the market over here on this side of the state. You do flower over there. So I haven't heard of it, but I also haven't heard of the program, right? So is that only something I would have heard of if it was a quality flower? Or was that something that, like, how are they marketing that? Because, like so many people are like, oh, it's organic, right? What does that mean?
How are the certifications marketing it?
Well, no, like how are they marketing it inside the dispensaries? Like honestly, the dispensaries, I don't think they know diddly squat, and I feel so bad for you guys to try. It's like an uphill battle trying to get your product on the shelf and educate these people on really what it is about, and the dedication to this and the commitment that it takes to do what you're doing.
Yeah, in Washington, we're fortunate that it's a gift and a curse that we package our own cannabis. There are people that resell cannabis for sure, just companies that do that. But like my farm, we just sell our own cannabis, and so we can put the branding on the package that can tell our story or link people to where they can find, something about us. And yeah, the certifications are really important. The clean green is really well known. I know Dragonfly Earth Medicine is becoming more well known, and especially in like California and Oregon, it's been really big. And so yeah, it's important because it's like a line for the bud tenders to give the customer when they come in and ask for something that's organic. And essentially, yeah, like clean green and certified kind and sun and earth, they're organic certifications, and largely based on the USDA model, is my understanding. Not exactly the same, but yeah, they're super important. I think to have something on your label that says that you go above and beyond is very important. There's a common sticker in Washington even that if you use a certain lab, I think it's Confidence Analytics, there's a certified pesticide free sticker, and things like that. It helps the bud tenders sell to the large growing demographic of people that realize that there's a lot of tainted cannabis out there. So yeah, I'm really stoked to have the Dragonfly certification, and I'm excited to see how the crew grows and what kinds of things we bring to the table as far as, quality and seeds. And it seems like there's a lot of sharing that goes on in that group of people. That's really, really amazing. And it's an interesting group of people. And most of the farmers are diversified farms, meaning that they aren't necessarily just growing cannabis. There's a lot of market gardeners. There's a farm that sells hay out of their field. And
yes, we had Happy Days Farm on not too long ago, and he's the regenerative farmer. And we also got to see some of the vegetables and the stuff that he grows. I shared his Instagram on here as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time in that group of folks, and a lot of homesteader types. And there's even some, indoor farms too, like Green Life Productions. And yeah, it's a dynamic group of folks, and there's a lot of different opinions, but to bring the group together to hash things out is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it will be. And, that's another thing, I'm lucky enough to be involved with this whole thing. It started off by me going up to the regenerative conference up there last year and meeting all you guys and getting to meet Josh and Kelly. And it's so cool because how they talk in a group, it's really a camaraderie, and it's a team thing. They're not driving it like they're like God, they're asking, what do you think is this, or what do you think? Each collective gets to put in their what they feel. And one of the big, huge conversations I think is going to take place is feminized seeds. Isn't that kind of one of the big topics we're going to get into up there?
I don't know for sure.
One? I can't remember. There's so many. I know. I just thought that was just one of them. I'm trying to think of some that we can't maybe. I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the exact like what we're talking about, but that's kind of what I was assuming as well, that would be spoken about because it's a contentious subject.
Just one of the many.
Yeah, it's one of the many, and it's one of the larger ones, especially when we're talking about modern day CBD hemp farming. And there's a lot of benefits to using feminized seed for that. And I don't think it's a silver bullet necessarily. And but yeah, that's something that does need to be sorted out. And I'm excited to hear what people think. I'm on the fence about it. I'm pretty in the middle. I have grown feminized seeds, I think, but I don't think I was conscious of buying them when I popped them. So
See, and my thinking is because we're only allowed 4 plants, how do you grow 4 plants and know that they're going to be female unless they're feminized?
how do you grow more than 3 plants? Is that what you said?
Yeah, well, see, we're only allowed to grow 4 plants. So if I grow just, anonymous seeds, and they end up, if I end up with 3 males and 1 female.
Yeah, no, that's another good reason why feminized seeds are useful for people that maybe are limited in their plant count severely. Like, yeah, that's not very many plants. And if I've grown out a 10-pack and only gotten females, and I've grown a 10-pack out and only gotten males. And it's a drag if you're trying to provide medicine for yourself or income. So
Yeah, exactly. So there's a question here in chat. Organic growing requires more frequent watering, right? The whole lift the pot to feel them as a feather light never really applies with organic. It would kill the microbes. I would say yes, but I will let you guys answer that.
I'd say it depends on what you're growing in. If it's a small pot, yeah, you need, you're gonna have to, you're not gonna want to have the dry out periods that a lot of times people get into the rhythm of doing when they're doing a lot of feeding. If you're doing just water only. But yeah, blue mats, it seems like everybody's going to blue mats these days that are doing indoor organic soil beds or living soil type stuff. I haven't messed around with it, but it seems to be the way. I know Steensland's all about that.
Yes, and didn't Dutch Blooms like it too?
Yeah, I think his whole greenhouse is really blue mats.
He says, I knew I was fucking it up. Hey, made me laugh, Steve. Too funny. Oh, well, what else? Is there anything else, JR, that you had questions? Or Kenny, is there more you wanted to go into the breeding a little bit more? Or yes, the Regenerative Conference is an amazing place, and you're definitely going to be there, right? Hopefully with the seed swaps and all kinds of stuff going on, and because we do have fans that are going to be there in BC, I know, and I know there's some in here that are probably going to be down in Humboldt, and there'll also be some people that are going to be at Emerald, but I don't think Kenny's going to be at Emerald this year, is he? He's got puppies that are going to be born.
Yeah, I have puppies. They're due any day. I think I was hoping they'd be yesterday, but yeah, I'm gonna be zipping back home after the Hive event. I'm pretty excited.
Cool. You'll have puppies. Awesome.
What kind of a dog do you have?
The female is a beagle crossed to a blue heeler. It's a female, and the male is a purebred blue heeler. And
I don't think I've ever heard of that breed.
They're called battle dogs. Beagle crossed a cattle dog.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty cute.
Oh.
Okay, so is this a serious question? What is the number of kill I'm allowed to grow? I know the government will let me have at least a 1/4 acre of poppies. I don't know. I have no idea.
Kale. You can grow as much kale as you like.
Yeah,
Problem is how
yeah.
much of it can you eat? That's the problem.
Too funny. Okay, so Kenny, you want to hang out for a little while? I know that JR is excited. He really wants to talk about this emerald thing we got coming up, and we also want to talk about the Christmas party that we got coming up before he checks out on me, because JR takes RSO and we keep him up late tonight, so he's probably already ready to go to bed. So Kenny, if you want to hang out, you're welcome to hang out, or we don't want to keep you any longer. I know you came in from working and you haven't had a chance to have dinner or anything, or you can just hang out and smoke with us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think I'll watch, but I think I'm gonna step off and make some dinner.
Absolutely, you can hang out, whatever you want to do. We'd love to have you hang.
Cool. Well, it was good talking to y'all, and thanks for having me on, Tara. And I'll see you guys next time.
Well, you're welcome anytime, man. Thanks for all your information.
Thanks for the genetics, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for all that information. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to be on again. I'm sure we'll talk in the future.
Most definitely. I know you're going to help me with some interviews in the future. I can see it coming.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Okay, JR, go ahead.
I just wanted to shout out our Christmas party we're going to have on December 18th. Going to be pretty exciting. I've got some genetics I've already picked out to give away. I've got 4 pack of seeds. We've got some Pacific Northwest roots for all you Pacific Northwest fans. This is the Caffeine by them. We've got Sunleaf Seed Company. This is Grape Gorilla. Gorilla Glue number 4 by Grapesicle. We've got Berry Tight from Seattle, Chronic Seeds, up there in the Seattle area, Washington, representing tonight.
Woo,
And then,
go Washington!
and then we got some Praying Mantis from Mass Medical Seeds, and those are some East Coast beans. And so we got some East Coast, we've got some West Coast, and we've got some Colorado all in the mix.
Heck yeah. Hey, you know what? If Pilgar gives me permission, I want to talk to Pilgar. Maybe I'll throw out some of the beans that he sent me. I'll pay it forward, because there's no way I'm going to be growing all these beans out. And I want to really pay these forward to people and give beans out, because I think everybody should have the right to grow. And I'm thankful for the opportunity that all the people have gifted to me.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it. Yeah, by the way, all these were gifts. All these were gifted to me, and now I'm, like you said, gifting them back out.
Yeah,
so
pay them forward. Pay 'em forward.
Show up and you know the drill. We'll give them away.
Heck yeah, I can't wait.
Heck
So
yeah.
are you going to like have a Santa suit on us for us?
Oh, come on, JR. A little beard on there, a little red toque.
Nah, not me.
No, okay.
I'll be Dracula, but I won't be Santa.
Oh my God. Well, you know, what else was, let's talk about, we're meeting. Okay. So the next show, we're not going to be live. Next, I'm leaving to head down to the Hive symposium and headed down to California. So, thank God I have my cousin taking care of the house and everything and watching my chickens and my geese. And I have both neighbors on both sides and everybody knows about us. And so we got plenty of people taking care of my animals. I'm so happy in our house. So we'll be headed out and we're going to be headed down and Hi and I are going to be meeting up. So we won't be live this next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday is hopefully when Hi and I should actually be meeting up. So I'm hoping that we will be doing a live together, Hi. And I told JR, I'm hoping that we can have internet service so we can get JR to join, because he won't be there yet. But if not, we'll at least go live. And then when we meet up on Friday, we are all doing lives. We are doing a live. And that's when we will have the dude on. because the dude dogged us tonight, but it's okay. Shit happened last time and everything got messed up. So this will work out even cooler because we'll be live with the dude and JR and Hi. How cool is that in California, guys? I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Oh,
I
love
can't
it.
wait.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm
So
at,
if you guys are out, anybody out there in chat, if you guys are gonna come, please hit us up and let us know because oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
what
Gonna be a
time
blast.
on Friday? We don't know yet, Kathy.
What did she say?
She says, what time on Friday? We don't know.
Oh, yeah, we are going to be flying by the seat of our pants. And honestly, I might go live from my phone on the way down there. I guess it depends. We're leaving so early in the morning, and I'm definitely not going to be live without my makeup and hair done. Sorry. And yeah, so won't be live at 6 o'clock in the morning. But we will be trying to go live when we can, and I keep the bell, and also make sure you're on Cannabuzz because we have a Cannabuzz group now, Terribly Live Cannabuzz group, so we can keep you guys posted on there, and it's so cool. It's kind of like a hangout chat if you were all on Hangouts. I think it's kind of like the new thing. We can all sit there and chat to one another, and if somebody wants to come on or we have questions to one another. It's really kind of cool. So JR, I really like that. And thank you for setting that up for me, you and Q.
Hey, no problem. Glad to. Glad to.
So any other questions? Hi, JR.
No, that's it for me. I had a great time tonight. Thank you very much.
I did too. Wow. It was great
good.
night.
It was nice.
Thanks everybody in chat. It was like chat was rolling and I tried to answer all the questions I could. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If you had any questions out there, sorry if I didn't get to them. Please, if you did have questions and you didn't stay for the live, please ask them down below in the comments. I do go back and read questions and comments and I do try to get them answered. I do appreciate all you supporting me. I do appreciate all the thumbs up because they help when you get those damn thumbs down.
And
So-
JR Cobra is saying that he can't post pictures. And where can he get info on that?
Support at honeycomb.com. Or a lot of times what you can do is check your Play Store or Apple Store to see if you have to do an update. You might have to do an update. And if not, sometimes if you uninstall it, then reinstall it, it sometimes helps. But support at honeycomb.com is our support line.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
And did we want to talk about anybody microdosing or anything? Are we going to mention that?
We could. I took those two. I took that 0.2 right earlier,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm feeling it or not. I'm not quite sure what I'm feeling.
Probably not.
Oh dear.
Probably not.
Because if you were, you probably would know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You'll feel extra giggly and maybe a little smiley, like a little.
But sometimes it
unusual
actually
happy.
relaxes me. See, so sometimes I
so
can't
I'm
say that.
feeling-
Sometimes it
yeah.
actually does relax me and makes me more chill. And especially in
Really?
the evening when I take it, because I can actually go to
Yeah.
bed. Yeah,
Mm.
it doesn't keep me up, especially the microdoses.
Yeah.
Right now, the microdoses is between 0.1 and 0.2. I find the
Yeah,
0.2
that's
is a little too
micro.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
real micro.
that is micro. But
Yeah.
whatever. So, ladies, I got to get going.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Catch you later.
Night,
Hey,
JR.
yeah.
Bye, JR. Thanks for hanging tonight. And
Good
everybody
time.
else out there, man, I think we are going to close this down. Should we do a
Yep.
little chat shout out hi and see who we have left and say goodbye to everybody? Have one last puff?
Shh, I'm not gonna smoke anymore. But
Okay, you go ahead.
You go right ahead. I'll read these out. So we've still got, if my thing is correct, we've still got 39 people in chat.
Awesome. Hanging strong. Thanks,
Wow,
everyone.
Yeah. So good night to Vision Creator, 710 Canuck, Terp Parmesan, Captain Terp, The American one, Ja 411. I feel like I'm reading the credits on a movie. Thank you to the Key Grip, Steve Mayer. On Boom, we had Green Meanie 91. The Waterboy was James O'Toole. And the, let's see, Red State Rebels held back the crowds while DK Trades, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. 9-inch colas are still here. Bingo.
I seriously
Lombardi.
think the mushrooms kicked in. Holy shit, guys.
You think?
You're going crazy on me.
Papa Dabs.
Cheers, everyone.
Green Meanie 91. I like that name. I'm doing terrific. Thanks. Oh, hang on. Vision's restocking his bong.
Oh, boom Shiva.
Boom Shiva. Yes, you are still here, 9-inch colas. Why did you think you'd gone?
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go get a snack.
I am gonna close down the show, and thanks everybody for joining us tonight again. I really, really do appreciate it. And we won't be on next Wednesday.
Nope.
But definitely the week after. And who knows what we'll be doing. And you know what? Just to send you out, I hope you all have an awesome Thanksgiving. For those of you in America that are celebrating and you're with your family and friends tomorrow, I wish you all the best. For those of you that are alone, I wish you all the best as well. And all those that have been out there that given us the ability for us to grow.
And you know
I'm very
what?
thankful for that.
If you are having a dinner and you know someone who's going to be alone, invite them over. That's what I used to do. Anyway,
we're having pizza tomorrow. We're staying home and having pizza. I'm excited just to be home with my husband and have pizza. That's what we're doing. We're not doing the big.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
My husband and I didn't do anything either. The kids were all busy doing their shit on our Thanksgiving. So we said, well, we'll do it eventually, and eventually said, well, Christmas is coming. So
Yep. We're just staying home real quiet because I gotta get ready to go to Emerald. So hey,
exactly.
We're packing and I'm squishing.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody again. Have a fantastic night.
Thanks all for
see
coming.
y'all. Bye.